Hello and welcome everyone to another exciting edition of the 8-Bit Show. Now in 3D.
Hold on, I wasn't ready.
Now in color.
I can't believe you went live already. I wasn't even ready.
Oh, whatever. You were ready.
I don't have my pants on.
Pants? Who needs pants?
I took off my pants.
Yeah, that's the only way to fly. Don't do that while flying.
That's how I podcast.
Don't take your pants off? I can't imagine it would have much effect on flying one way or the other.
It's better to fly without them. Less wind, less air drag.
Good point. Good point.
That is a good point. Yeah. How you guys doing?
Oh, you know, can't complain.
Good.
Doing fine.
Yeah, listen to that dead air.
Yeah.
I just realized I didn't fix the episode number, so I'm gonna fix that real quick. Cool.
My game's not working now too, so I'm gonna have to switch games up.
You would.
Of course.
Didn't that game not work last week?
It didn't. I was hoping. I got it to work like the other night. I was doing just fine, and now.
Does it not like to play while you're streaming? Maybe.
I don't know. Guess
it's a mystery.
That happened to me with some game. I can't remember what it was, but some games be like that.
It's rude.
Mm-hmm.
So rude.
Well, yeah. So we're here to talk to you about video games and movies and all the things.
All the pop culture stuff?
Yeah.
Mostly.
I'm not sure how much, but mostly. So yeah, I guess I'll go first because I haven't gone first in a while, and we all know Christian went first. What, 4 weeks ago? 5 weeks ago.
I mean, at some point he's gonna have to go first again, I imagine.
I thought I did it for the year. I thought I covered that already.
Well, let me think here. Well, let's start with the game that I'm playing currently. This Pixel Junk Eden. Oh God, I don't remember when this game came out, but
I haven't seen that game in a long time.
yeah, like I don't know. The Pixel Junk games are really good.
PlayStation 3.
It was. I think that's where it did.
That's where I first.
Yeah,
I think that's where I first played it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's where it first came out.
And then I got hooked on. Was it Pixel Junk Runner?
Oh, I never played Runner. I didn't even know there was one called Runner. There's like 5 or 6 of them, right?
Or maybe I'm thinking of something else. But...
You thinking of Bit Trip Runner?
Bit Trip. That is what I was thinking about.
I mean, there could have been a Pixel Junk Runner. There's a few of them. They're all really good games. But this one I played the most of for sure. So going back and revisiting it, I don't know. I think it only does local co-op. So I might have to con Rihanna into playing it with me, but it's just such a fun little game. And it's like, I guess the best way to put it is it's like relaxing for the most part, until the enemies show up and you're like really trying to do something, and then it gets a little stressful and you're like, okay, I did it. So it's good. It's enjoyable that way, if that's your jam. And I love the music to this. Yeah, it's very EDM. Never really been too big into EDM, but I don't know. There's something about it that
it fits the mood.
It really does, and it fits the art style too. Like that's a big part of it. I think is the art that they have in here. Very simple, but it pops, you know. So yeah, that's Le Pixel Junk. Let's see what else. Actually, there hasn't been much else.
Yeah, you guys didn't really play much.
Nope.
Zelda.
No, it's been a busy week, so a lot of work stuff.
Excuses.
Yep. I wish I could devote more time.
A week full of excuses.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm really trying to think now. There has to be something else that I've played. Oh, there is actually another old game that I've been playing that I rediscovered on my phone. So I wanted to actually connect my controller to my phone. That way I can check out Final Fantasy 3 on it, because I bought it on Android a long time ago.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I just wanted to see how well it would work and whatnot. And I just kind of went scrolling through old games that I haven't played in a while on Android, and I refound the Impossible game. Remember that one, Christian?
Yeah.
The little square, and you just got to jump on the other squares and whatnot, make it to the end.
Yeah. Yeah, Geometry Run or whatever.
Yeah. So yeah, I suck once again at that game.
Yeah, that takes like practice and continual practice.
You never stop sucking at that game.
Right. Yeah, it's a fun little game though. It's cool when you want to, get a little challenge in for a little quick 5-10 minutes, like if I'm on a break at work or whatever. Pop that open, play it for a bit. And then cry that I still can't get past the one part that I've been trying to get past for forever. Let's see. That's really it for games, other than the usual, which
Just been playing games and crying.
Yeah. Played
the usual,
including Mario Kart. Some Mario Kart runs and some Mario Party. Late at night, so those are always fun, but people know how those games go.
You lose friends.
It's true. But let's see, TV wise, still watching From. We're about halfway through the second season. Actually, I think we're right at the halfway mark. I mean, it's getting more and more of the Lost vibes to it. Like, there's just questions, and I need the answers to them.
Do you?
I do, because it's pretty interesting. Like,
I downloaded the show so I could watch it.
Yeah.
It looked interesting.
I think you'll be interested in it. What's funny is that I didn't realize this at first, but before Sky had me watch some of it, I had seen clips of the show pop up in my YouTube Shorts feed. And watching those clips, I was so fucking confused by what the fuck was going on. I don't think that show lends well to the shorts. But yeah, like the things they started to introduce in the second season, and maybe starting to hint at some answers coming, but nothing big yet, nothing definitive. So we'll see. What else? Oh,
Unclear.
There wasn't there a trailer that dropped yesterday?
I don't know.
Something,
There's always trailers dropping.
there is.
You have to be maybe more specific.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. I could have sworn that
There's
I watched something.
the most recent things I heard was like the Daredevil trailer.
Oh,
Drops.
I didn't hear about that.
The new Daredevil movie or show. I don't know entirely. I didn't watch it.
Shoot. Crap, I can't remember what it was. It was something kind of big though. I mean,
Big trailers.
big trailers. Damn, I can't remember. Maybe I'll remember a little bit later, but yeah. Actually, I guess that's really it of the big stuff that I got. So nothing too crazy. Again, a lot of work. Nobody wants to hear about that. I mean, maybe, but I doubt it.
Nope, you don't.
So yeah, let's go next. Not everybody at once.
Everyone stay quiet.
All right, take it away, Andrew.
Alright, I didn't play anything this week that I didn't play last week. Mostly just Total War and Hades.
Mm-hmm.
And I played a little bit, been playing a little RimWorld this week.
Oh yeah.
You started the Anomaly run, right? Or a new one?
Yeah. Tribal start. So you see how the tribes people handle anomalies. It's been fun so far.
Mm-hmm.
Watch some movies though. And some TV.
Yeah. What'd you watch?
I watched
Typical lazy millennial spending all of his time on the TV.
pretty much, yeah.
Me too.
This week.
That's what I did. Yeah.
Oh, I watched the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare. Saw that movie.
What is
It
that
was-
about? I like the title.
Oh, did you not see any like trailers for it or anything?
Mm-mm.
It's got Jack Reacher in it from Reacher,
Oh.
the TV show.
Yeah.
Not the movie.
Richardson.
Yeah, that fucking huge guy. Yeah, he's in it.
The
And Henry Cavill's in it.
Okay.
That's about the it's about the first ever black op to ever happen.
Oh, okay, cool.
Some guys go sink a like Nazi submarine supply boat off the coast of Spain, and they have to do it as black op because it's Spain. So that's what the movie is. It's okay. It's fine.
I always enjoy
It's
it.
fun.
I always enjoy movies about Nazi killing.
Yeah. There's I see a lot of
pastimes.
Nazis die in it. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
That's why I like that movie, Fury.
Henry Cavill's British accent's ridiculous. So there's that.
Yeah.
It's fun.
There's that.
Henry Cavill's ridiculous. Yes.
But yeah,
That can just be stated.
it was okay. It felt like it really wanted to be Inglourious Bastards, but it wasn't as good as that movie. But it was fun.
Okay.
It was okay. I watched The Last Stop in Yuma County. It was small little movie. About some bank robbers who get stuck at a diner with some other people right after they rob a bank.
Okay.
And that's pretty much the movie. It just takes place in that diner. Pretty great. It's a good flick.
Like a
It was
isolation thriller type thing.
yeah. Big time. It ended like most of those end as well.
Oh, nice.
It's very by the numbers isolation thriller, but it was fun. All the performances are really good in it. It was an enjoyable. I like isolation thrillers, so checked a lot of boxes for me.
Yeah.
It's all a little bit on the nose. They don't do anything like particularly creative. The ending's pretty good though. And it's a tight 90, which I always like I like that. Well, I don't always like my movies being a tight 90, but this one certainly works well as just like a tight 90 in terms of time, because there's not a lot of story to tell there, so they get it told. Now, what was this TV show I started watching? Hellbound, some Korean show.
Hellbound, eh?
Yeah, I think it came out like a few years ago on Netflix. I started watching it. It's pretty cool. It was like 6 episodes. I watched 4 of them. About demons that drag people to hell. Like 3 smoky gorillas show up and beat the shit out of you, and then like set you on fire, and that takes you to hell.
Okay.
That's the show. Or that like those things are happening, and it's like Korean people dealing with that, I guess. Like,
yeah.
It's okay though. It's okay. I kind of like it. There's not much to. I mean, it's only like 6 episodes. It's probably based on a novel or something. I think that's about it. Oh, I watched the 2nd season of The Terror, which the second season came out in like 2019. 5-year-old. So, but I never saw the 2nd season. That was pretty good.
Hey, it doesn't need to be new for us to talk about it, okay?
Right.
It was way less ambiguous about the like supernatural element to it. It was just straight up like, yep, there's an evil demon. They even give you a whole origin story about it and everything. Like, it's just, yep, there's a demon.
They're just straightforward with it. Okay.
Yeah. Which felt a little bit different from the 1st season, where it's really like ambiguous about things actually being supernatural or not. This one's just like, yeah, no, it's a demon. Other than that, it's Japanese people dealing with being Japanese in America when World War II breaks out. But you throw a demon into the mix.
That's the way to, lighten the mood of that. Japanese internment camps and whatnot.
I guess.
Yeah.
Really brings up the mood when you add a demon.
I mean, honestly, it kind of does.
I know, like, it sounds
something
silly.
else to think about.
It sounds silly, but if it was just about the other part, it would be very depressing.
Very depressing. That was okay. The 2nd season was okay. It wasn't the most amazing thing I've ever seen, but
Yeah.
it was all right. Then I haven't watched it yet, but the new season of Inside Number 9 started. Which, if you guys never watched Inside Number 9 before, it's great, and you should watch it.
Noted.
You're missing out.
I have not, so.
I downloaded that recently.
I've told Christian to watch it like 1,000,000 times.
I downloaded it, okay?
Okay, good.
I got one step closer to watching it. It's downloaded.
Progress.
Yeah. What else could you even want from me?
For you to watch it. Sounds like.
Sounds like it's
fairly
That's so
obvious.
much. That's so much work.
Just download it and never watch it.
You're just describing my flex, like most of mine.
Right.
Really fun anthology show though. Just every episode is a different 30-minute story about something that takes place inside some building or warehouse or something with the number 9 in it. Hence Inside Number 9 for the name of the show. Pretty fun. They're like 9th season? On the 9th season.
Wow, that's pretty far.
So yeah, a lot of stuff there to watch.
Mm-hmm.
I imagine the BBC loves making that show because it probably cost them almost nothing to make.
That's the way to do it. Maximize on profits.
But yeah, well, it's on the BBC would be the place to check that out, or other more piratey places. Check it out too.
Mm-hmm.
I don't condone piracy, unless of course you also wear an eye patch while doing so.
Do you have an eye patch?
I do.
Oh,
I wear it every time I pirate.
I want photo evidence of this.
Right now I gotta go buy an eye patch.
You dug this hole yourself.
Right.
Bragging about your eye patching.
I wanted to be cool. Anything else you have?
That's about it. There's probably some other stuff, but it wasn't very impactful.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly Hades, though. Turn it up in this game.
Hades 2 has been a blast. Although I am frustrated with one of the weapons I don't like, even though I do like the weapon.
So do you
like
not, or
I don't understand.
Yeah.
So I like the weapon, but I've like so far since playing it, that's the one that I ran into the most like buggy issues with.
Oh, I see.
When the weapon's working as intended, it's working great, but the like flames, the like flame weapon,
What? Flame?
the one that like shoots out,
Oh, shoots little thingies, yeah.
shoots little fireballs, and then it charges up after a while and shoots bigger ones.
Yes.
Because it does like an auto aiming thing, it sometimes won't like aim where I need it to or want it to. And I've had it in fact get like stuck in corners where it won't hit the bad guys, it just kind of like bounces in a corner. It was rough. But it doesn't do that all the time, so it's not like makes the game unplayable or anything.
Yeah.
But it does turn like a weapon that I kind of like a lot into a weapon that's very frustrating to use, and very dependent on like what the stage happens to look like. If there's a lot of obstacles in the way, it's not a great weapon.
All right. Down the drain.
Okay.
But that's like the biggest bug I've ran into. But
Quick.
I guess I can go then.
Yeah. Before you do, I can't see video
Yeah, well then.
from your screen, Christian.
Typical Christian, hiding all his video.
I know.
I can
Big
fix that.
big secret stuff.
Secret gamer. There we go.
Fix the other part. All right, that should be good.
Yep. Video and sound. Perfect.
Yeah. Let's see. I've done things this week. I'm pretty sure. I have to jumpstart the memory for that. Hold on. Well, I've been playing this game. On my quest to beat more of my Metroidvania games.
Percentage-wise, how far are you? 0.
What percentage? Are we, like the percentage of this game, or
The overall.
overall?
Overall Metroidvania backlog.
Well, I beat Blasphemous, so there's one.
Pretty good.
Yeah. Actually, that's pretty good progress for you and me in particular.
Out of like, I think less than 10 games. I think I have less than 10 to actually beat.
Oh, okay. That's not too bad then.
This is my next goal. Is Fist forged in Shadow Torch.
Oh, right, yeah.
Where you play a bunny.
The bunny one, yeah.
Yeah, you play a bunny with a large robotic arm. Pretty fun. I just found a place to paint my weapons with certain color schemes, and I got this one that's pink. Pretty excited about that. I now have a shiny pink fist. Yeah, pretty cool game. I'm not too far into this one yet. But you can see from like the map alone, it's very Metroidvania.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm in kind of a slower part where I'm talking to all the furtisans, because that's what they're called.
Oh, because they're furries.
Yeah, because all they're animals. They're all anthropomorphic animals.
Yeah.
So if you're a furry, this game's great for you. It's fun. Nothing big, nothing changing yet. I don't have a whole lot of skills or anything, so nothing that would really stand out. I've also been playing Everspace 2.
Oh, okay.
A bit more. Which that's a really fun like space RPG. I really enjoy the space battles in that game. Or the like ship battles.
Yeah.
Dogfighting. They did a really good job of it. And lots of like fun ship upgrades and customizations. I just found a place to buy a new ship. Not that I have the money for it, but I found it. Hades 2, been playing that. We were just talking about that a little bit. And yeah, that's definitely, if you played the first Hades, you should definitely play the second one. It's been super enjoyable to play. Definitely holding on to that, one of the best roguelike titles, and that's gonna have an update. We get like a new patch this month. That the developers said they're gonna focus on like just small fixes, and they want to change, I guess, the way the dash and movement work a little bit. No details on how they're changing that or anything.
The changes are incoming.
Yeah, and then we have like a weapon that's still not available in the game yet. There's at least one more weapon.
Okay.
So we'll see what comes of that.
Yeah.
Something new called coffee.
Want
to try some?
I finished a new book this week called Grave Song.
Grave Song.
Yeah. By Andrea Parsnow. Or no, that's who did the narration. Pirate Abba is the author. It was pretty good. It's about it's set in the Wandering Inn universe that I've also been reading. Which is kind of the isekai, like someone comes from Earth into a magical place. This chick who's like an aspiring actress, like stage actress.
Okay.
gets transported into like this massive crypt, and she
Finds the crypt keeper.
well, she's like traveling around, and you know, she doesn't know how she got there, kind of scared or whatever. And she starts like singing to herself using her phone. Because she has her phone with her. She doesn't have phone service, but you know, there's music downloaded to it, so she's playing it and singing to it, trying to keep a positive mood while she's like walking through this like huge crypt. When she gets like, she almost gets killed, although she doesn't know it, by like a ghost in the crypt, who the only reason it stopped was because of her singing. And it starts to like, you know, it actually talks to her and ends up helping her find a way out of the crypt. And she finds her way to like a little village, and it turns out this place that she's landed in is like consumed with death magic, very much because of the crypts that she was in. It's like a massive crypt, so it like corrupted the land or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
How much do you know about Cicero?
What I told you before was free.
She inadvertently like ends up setting upon like a whole undead invasion by her breaking out of that crypt, which was like sealed up with magic and stuff. But by her breaking it and stuff like that, this necromancer ends up finding his way in there and raises like an army of undead.
Sounds pretty interesting.
It's pretty cool though. She becomes like a singer class, because there's all these kind of base. There's like a game lit RPG, so it has some like RPG element type stuff. Everyone levels up, and has classes and stuff. And then she ends up becoming like a singer class, and she doesn't think anything of it, but like one of the cool themes, I guess not themes that they do, but with her personally is like she never really believes in like heroes or anything, so she's kind of having a hard time wrapping her mind around like the power that her songs can do. At one point, like during the invasion, she gets like asked to go ahead and sing, and it like rejuvenates the army, and they're able to like continue fighting with all like the strength and stamina that they had before.
Okay.
And she pretty much saves like the first volley, right? Like she, with that song, was able to hold the gates for a little bit.
Finished here.
Ends up like everyone finds out that she let him out, and there's like a whole drama thing, and she ends up becoming a grave singer through some means where she ends up being able to control, or like slightly control, a bit of the undead, and she fights back against the necromancer.
That's pretty cool. I like that.
It ended up being a pretty fun story. It's supposed to be a little like trilogy offshoot of like the Wandering Inn. It doesn't feature any of the same characters. There's some mention of one of the characters from the other series, but that's really about it. But it's super well written, and the voice actress Andrea Parsnow, who does the narration, I might have mentioned this before, but she's excellent. She does great. She has like a whole number of voices that all sound different. It really gives some life to the characters. It's really fun.
Yeah, the name sounds familiar. So you've at least mentioned it to me before. Mentioned her to me before.
Shielded up.
Yeah, that was pretty fun. Enjoyed that book. And then let's see, I watched a whole bunch of media. I finished Supernatural finally, and that show should have ended at, like 4 years before its time. I understand, like it's kind of cool to keep it going or whatever, and if you're like being an actor and stuff, I'm sure it's like nice to have that stability of work
Yeah.
and to work with people you like, right? So I get it. But it was, I don't know. I don't know entirely how I feel about the end. It feels like it ends an episode sooner. Like it feels like it ends, and then you have one more episode to watch.
Huh.
And that last episode mostly just feels like some fan service episode, like a fan service episode. Kind of like your epilogue or whatever.
Also, spoilers. What is the ending?
Well, Dean dies after they were able to complete, and he kind of dies in a stupid way. Like, they beat the big bad guy together, no problems. They end up beating God and sort of resurrecting God at the same time. It'd be a long explanation if I had to go into all that. But they set things right, and then and the show ends, right? And it seems all good. And then there's another episode. And it's like back to the normal stuff. They're fighting, they're doing their normal hunter stuff, and they go into a nest of vampires. And Dean gets like stabbed in the back with like a piece of like wrought iron that was like sticking out of the wall. He just gets like slammed into the wall, and it, you know, stabs into his back. And it's just in the midst of the fight. It wasn't like, oh, they were trying to do that.
Yeah.
Right? Like, doesn't seem like it was intentional.
Is it like, oh, well, now like his purpose is done, so like...
Yeah, I mean, it becomes a whole thing, and it's kind of, like I said, it's basically for fan service, where like it follows a theme where like they've gone through this song and dance numerous times. Like, I think that's the 4th or 5th time that Dean has died, and they always bring each other back.
Yeah.
And stuff. And this time, while he's like, because he's still somewhat alive when that incident first happens, he just knows he's dying. So he goes, you know, he's like, you know, he just makes Sam promise that he won't try and bring him back like they always do. And so Dean gets to like die and go to heaven and spend that time there, while Sam is on Earth and gets to do what Sam's kind of always wanted to do, which was go have a real life.
Okay.
All the way till it kind of quickly follows all the way to like Sam's death.
So it gives a succinct ending, but it feels, I'm assuming this is what you're saying, is that it feels a little off or something? I don't know.
No, it just like it could have been a little bit more impactful had like
Gotcha.
maybe Dean died during the God fight. Right? Like to have him go out fighting vampires when that's what they've been doing this whole thing was just kind of like, oh, well, shit.
Yeah.
He died by something so small, which may be part of the point that they were trying, or you know, one of the things they wanted to explore.
Yeah.
Or whatever. But it just feels like, yeah, it feels like the end of the book happens, and then you get the epilogue of like what happened after the fact, and that's what that very last episode is.
Okay.
Which I think might be why it wasn't as well received.
Yeah.
Initially, also, is because it does feel just kind of like an epilogue, and not like your typical show ending. I don't know.
Yeah.
And there could have been more impactful ways of doing it or whatever. But overall, not that bad. Not that bad.
Okay.
I started watching Stan Against Evil, which is a IFC show. It features Dr. Cox from Scrubs. The asshole doctor. Which he's just playing an older version of that, basically, an asshole sheriff. Or ex-sheriff, retired sheriff. Whose, like, wife passed away, and she was, somehow through, like, you know, magic or whatever, protecting him from, like, this curse in the town, that, it's cursed because this guy who burned a bunch of witches in Salem moved to their town and proceeded to burn, like, hundreds of witches. Or was it 177 witches in their town?
Wow.
Of course, none of these were actual witches. They're just, you know, women. So they're having to deal with, like, the fact that this curse wants to kill off all the sheriffs in town. And him being the retired sheriff and his wife protecting him that whole time, they kind of have a little bit of a grudge against him. And the new sheriff that took his place. It's pretty funny. It's definitely a horror comedy thing, and they definitely, like, make fun of and poke fun at a lot of, like, horror tropes. Which is, you know, hilarious. That's all fun. It does not have a very big budget, so the like, there's a lot of, like, practical effects and a lot of, like, obvious puppetry and stuff, obvious puppets. But it's pretty fun either way. The last episode I watched, at one point, Stan has to go, he has to drive someplace, but his daughter doesn't want him to use the car because a, like, family of crows took nest in the car and have eggs. So he's not supposed to drive the car until the eggs hatch. At one point he does drive the car and he's just getting, like, pecked and battered. Yeah. With crows while he's driving down the street. Pretty great.
Call this a crowbar?
I call this a crowbar. There's the episode before was a were-pony.
Oh.
Yeah. I got to see a guy transform from a pony to a man. It was very weird.
With the low budget effects, was it as glorious as it sounds?
It was
Yes.
indeed. It's like American Werewolf in London, like the first one.
Nice.
Level of greatness.
Get behind that.
Except for, you know, not a wolf, it was a pony.
Yeah.
It's so far been pretty fun. There's 3 seasons of it out, I think. I don't know if it's going to continue or anything, but currently 3 seasons of it. And quite enjoyable.
It sounds like a hoot.
Yeah, that's mostly been it. I can't really think of anything else. Oh no, I watched a movie today. I watched Sting.
Like
It's a biopic of the wrestler.
I mean, your pitch is good, and could have been a good movie as well.
I would have watched it.
It's like a spider creature feature movie.
oh,
It's like a giant alien spider, or it doesn't start out giant, but a quickly growing alien spider.
I think that's
And this girl takes him and, like, starts raising it, and names it Sting after Sting the sword, which doesn't make sense. I'm gonna throw it out
Oh,
there.
I thought she named the spider after the wrestler.
Like she
so
looks
it makes
around
a
the
lot more
room.
sense. Yeah, because she looked at the Hobbit first too. Yeah, that does make a lot more
she
sense.
like looks around her room and sees the Hobbit book and names it Sting.
Even though
that is not the name of the spider.
Better spider names.
You could have named it the actual spider name, but I get it. I'm a Lord of the Rings nerd, so I'm not going to argue too much.
I mean, I think it's okay. You're trying to come up with a name fast. Why not?
I would have named it like the first name I thought of when I saw it was like Ungoloth.
You don't have to like come up with a name fast.
Ungoloth and Shelob. Come on.
Who's gonna run?
They're right there for you.
They're right there.
It was all right. Arachnophobia is still better, but it was fairly fun. The foreshadowing is pretty easy to pick up. It's not a deep movie in any sense.
Mm-hmm.
But it was quite. I quite enjoyed it. Yeah, I think that was about it for me. Just yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't really done a whole lot.
That's fair. Sounds like you had more than us, though, so you know. You're fine.
I guess I might have just remembered more than.
That's also true.
I also left. I mean, I watched that movie with Christian. I left some of the movies stuff for Christian to talk about.
Yeah. I did remember the trailer though earlier that I was talking about.
Oh, did you?
It's Rings of Power.
Oh, season 2.
Yeah, season 2.
If I never saw season 1, I'll be completely lost.
I mean, the trailer looked okay. It is what it is.
I haven't watched this first season, so.
I like, me personally, I like that they're not just going along with a story that's already out there. You know, they have these pieces that Tolkien has commented on, and some of it that's, you know, in the unfinished tales and whatnot. And I think it's cool that they're trying to create something new out of those pieces of these ideas, you know?
Yeah.
I feel like what they're doing with the timeline is definitely, they're changing it, and I don't know, I think that's okay, because I mean, Tolkien did that a bunch. he definitely contradicts himself in some of his letters, you know? So I don't know, I don't think it's too big of a deal. I think there's a lot of people nitpicking about it, but I can see some of the complaints for the first season. If you don't like it, you don't like it, but I don't know. I think it's, the characters have been pretty fitting for who they are and who they used to be and what we know of that. So
That's fair. I don't know why I haven't. It just hasn't like caught my attention at all.
yeah, and I think that's perfectly fair too. There's some really cool like scenes in there though where, you know, it's stuff that is alluded to, and it's like seeing that come to life is pretty cool. So for that alone, that's what makes me excited about it. So
I mean, there's definitely cool ideas there, and definitely fun stuff you can play with.
yeah, exactly. And that's the thing too.
Tolkien's
Like,
work.
I mean, honestly, to be a writer on that, like, honestly, I bet you it's like a dream come true for some of those people. Like, to be able to like work in that universe to create something like known but still new. Like that must be really cool.
Yeah, I mean, I just saw that they're doing another movie.
The Rohirrim stuff.
No, that's supposed to be like a show.
Oh, that's
right?
supposed to be a show. Okay. Oh yeah, that's right.
I thought
Because
that
they
was
were.
a show.
Yeah, I think you're
They
right.
got a new movie in the works. Peter Jackson's set to like come back with it. as well as Andy Serkis, who will be reprising his role as Golem. And it'll be when I first heard that they were going to be redoing like Lord of the or making more Lord of the Rings movies, I was like, why? Like, we already had the perfect one. Why even bother?
Well, so
but they're gonna do like these side things. Like, so this one's the movie that we just heard about. With this is The Hunt for Golem.
Oh, okay.
So it's not, it's not the same story. It's a different story.
Well, so from what I heard is that it was originally going to be a remake of The Lord of the Rings, but there was like such internet backlash on that they changed their mind and said, all right, we'll make something new then.
Look, you can stay in the Lord of the Rings universe, that's fine and stuff, but yeah, let's make new stories. Like,
yeah, exactly. That's
where use some of the other stories that are available there.
Yeah,
not to mention, like, that's not that old, first off.
No, and it still holds
they're
up
regarded
well.
they're regarded as one of the best adaptations. Like, why? There's nothing to fix.
Right? The only... Okay. If you watch The Return of the King in 4K, that Pippin doll...
Look, not all the CGI holds up. I mean, even the cave troll kind of looks...
It's not CGI, though. That's the problem. It's just a doll. A really bad Pippin doll. Because you weren't supposed to see it in 4K.
True. I mean, look, there's certain...
Yeah.
There's certain things that you could maybe do, but like in an overall sense, it's still considered one of the best adaptations ever.
No, and honestly, I think that the CGI, like, it might not be perfect, but it does hold up pretty well.
That's not great.
It's not great, but it's like...
I remember watching the cave troll recently and being like, ooh, that's pretty rough.
Yeah, well, I mean, honestly, that's like...
That's one of their biggest ones. Other than that, they used a lot of practical effect anyways.
Yeah, well, you have to remember too that the first movie, they had the lowest budget for the CGI. The CGI does get better as it does go along. I mean, they use it more and more as it goes along as well. So yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. Yeah, it's not a perfect movie. It doesn't hold up perfectly, but it's still really good. Like, I can still watch it and enjoy the crap out of it, you know?
Die, spider. Fuck.
Oh, you're watching Sting again?
Getting my ass beat by this robotic spider. It's supposed to be just like a little guy, beat me harder than the big boss that was just fighting. Oh my god, I hate these things so bad.
It's okay. You'll get them, Christian. It'll be fine.
You get it, buddy. You got this. You got this.
I died.
I
died. You don't got this.
I guess you did not, in fact. Damn, man, I was running around telling people you got this too.
Well, that's your fault.
That is
yeah, it is on me.
You should
Next time,
expect good
I
things
won't
from
believe
me.
in you.
Yeah, why would you?
I don't know why I did it the first time.
I never told you to.
I consider it to be a mistake.
Shall we head into the news?
Was there news?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, I've got some news stuff. Go for it, Frankie.
Want me to start? I can start. I can start. We'll start with something a little light here. So
I'm sexy.
We got Microsoft announcing the Xbox Game Pass May 2024 lineup. Wave 2, I suppose. So the short and skinny of it, if I can get down to the list here, is we got Chance of Sinar, EA Sports NHL 24, Immortals of Avium?
So, yeah, sure.
Of them. Senua's Saga, Hellblade 2, Galacticare, Haunty, moving out to Humanity, which I actually really want to play. Lords of the Fallen, Firework, and Rolling Hills. Those will be coming out starting tomorrow all the way up to June 4th. And then the games that are leaving the subscription service.
The Sonoa one's pretty big. That's that's like a day one, right? That's a day one release.
I think so. I know a lot of people are.
If I'm not mistaken, it is.
Sounds right. So yeah, what's leaving is Chicory: A Colorful Tale, Far World Pioneers, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Pac-Man Museum Plus, Little Witch in the Woods, and
not Pac-Man Museum Plus.
Yeah.
Oh. Out of all the games,
I just bought that game though.
So addicted to your Pac-Man. It's okay. It's actually just a museum game.
I prefer
like a simulate being in a museum.
Yeah. You just play as Pac-Man in a museum.
I prefer Miss Pac-Man because she's, the original sex symbol. Those curves.
Oh, you're gonna tell me, man.
So yeah, there's some of that. Want to go next?
Well, you'll have to hurry up and play those games.
Christian went first last week, so
I just went first.
Yeah, says who?
All right, next up.
But I think Christian had these.
Diddy.
I do have news. Let me pull up. A while back we talked about how Adult Swim games were being delisted.
Yeah.
Well, there's been enough outcry and stuff that they've seemed to have reversed that course. And are just going to be giving the games back control to the original developers as what's been requested.
Yeah.
Which is that is a really good outcome. One of the big people to help to push that along was Duck Game creator Landon. I'm not going to try and pronounce that. Paul Dobleski.
You just tried to pronounce it.
Yeah, I did, because I decided I would go ahead and try. Why not?
For the lulz.
For the lulz, because I definitely did that wrong.
You definitely
did. As well as small radio, big television developer Owen Dreary. They were big on speaking out about how they should just go back to control of them. Why would you just delist the game? And yeah, with all the talk around lately of saving video games, I mean, you have, I think I think it's in England. You have people fighting and even trying to take it to court that video game developers should, instead of killing off a game like that, should at least release it in a stable state when released.
Yeah.
And game preservation in general has been a big topic lately. So yeah, I think it's pretty cool. The Adult Swim and WB games are giving back the creator control instead of those games being just delisted permanently.
Yeah. No, that is definitely cool. It's the least they could do.
Yeah. What you got?
Let's see. So what I got is Majora's Mask and other Nintendo 64 games get native PC ports through an unofficial modding tool. Brought to us by IGN. So yeah, I I saw some other articles about this too before I actually read this IGN one. But so yeah, there's some developer who's uploaded a tool onto GitHub called N64 Recomp, and you can recompile N64 games and turn them into native PC ports. So I don't know how much extra programming is required for this, how seamless the tool is, but yeah, apparently Majora's Mask is the first one that's available for you to play, so you can play in 4K. Like, it's all it uses your PC's hardware, so the textures might not be good, you might have some blurry parts to it, but yeah, it's pretty impressive. So I honestly can't wait to see, because this, speaking of game preservation, this will be cool to have.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I guess one thing for like Zelda games, because those are being preserved just fine, I think, but for games in general, N64 games, right? There's a lot that aren't. So,
right, I want to play some GoldenEye natively, like, because the remake, not that great. The original is where it's at. I can still play that game.
Yeah, well, the first GoldenEye it's gold. It's gold. And a total mistake. You ever like listen to like the history development?
Yeah.
Or developmental history of that game?
Dude,
cool.
that
like
game,
the whole multiplayer came out of mistake. It was just a way for the devs to test the systems and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
they just kept it in.
there's so much history behind that game. It is insane. It's a cool mark in gaming, honestly.
I quite like it.
Yeah. Agreed.
Well, let's see here. I think it was last week we talked about Helldivers 2. Maybe it was the week before. And then we praised them for taking it back, but we were wrong. Not necessarily. Sony did take back the whole PSN login thing recently, but those games, as of right now, are still currently unlisted in all the countries that PSN is not available.
Yeah, that's where we last left off.
Yeah. So far, there's been no news besides like Johan Palisade, CEO of Arrowhead, said they're in talks to try and get their game released everywhere. And this has also, in turn, affected the new game Ghosts of Tsushima.
Yes.
Which is even more ridiculous in my eyes. Ghost of Tsushima is also blocked from the 177 countries that do not offer PSN, even though they backtrack the need for the PSN. And is a little bit more egregious because Ghost of Tsushima is mostly a single-player game. It does have a multiplayer mode, but that is just a mode.
Well, okay, so here's the thing. All right, that in Sony's official statement, they didn't say anything about needing PSN to play the single player game.
No, it is just to play the multiplayer. You don't need to sign into a PSN until you want to play multiplayer.
Yeah, but they are. But if you are in a country that can't do that, you can't play any part of the game currently.
You can't buy it. Yeah, you can't buy that game.
I think the reason for that is it basically boils down to them being lazy. You know, like they don't want to basically have to I think like figure out new pricing and new strategies, saying, oh yeah, you guys can have this game, but we'll discount it because you guys can't access this part of the game. So I think they're just doing a blanket ban for it. And
they could just take, to be fair, they could just take off the whole PSN requirement in general.
Yeah,
I
but
get it
what,
sort of
no, 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 but what I'm saying is that if they do that, then people might be upset because they're not receiving the whole game, even though they're quote unquote technically paying for it, you know, just because
what I'm saying is, like,
the service isn't there.
Well, and what I'm saying is, like, because it's not that like with Helldivers, it's not that the people in those places can't play it because they can't access the servers. It's just that they're blocked because they don't have PSN. They can't sign up for PSN accounts.
Yeah.
And in the same sense, it's like, I get understanding, like, you want to put it behind your own. And in a sense, I understand that you want to put it behind your own stuff to be able to do like bans and stuff properly or whatever. But at the same time, man, you're just limiting like sales of the game. Like, I just feel bad mostly for the developers on this. Like,
yeah,
most of these people want their game out, and, where everyone can play.
And here's the thing: we don't know how that code works for the multiplayer. So it might be that it is integral that a PSN account is active, and that it's talking to the Sony servers for the game for whatever reason. It might be something really stupid and not like impacting on the game itself, but it could be the case that the code could be intertwined so much that they don't want to take the time to remove that, and so in doing that they're just blocking the whole thing, which again, it's like you said, it's really stupid. But I'm betting that's the reasoning here. They don't want to spend the time. They don't want to put in extra money to maybe not get that money back out. Especially because I don't think Ghost of Tsushima, like, it was, I think it did okay for its release, but I don't think it was like a blowaway or anything. So
I don't know. I've heard a lot of praise for that game.
Yeah, but I don't think it did well. I think it sold. I think it sold okay. But I mean, we can
talk about that here soon, about sales and expectations. But
no, I think we should. Let's jump right into it, because this is the problem: is that they are leaving money off of the table by not doing this, and then they're going to turn around and complain that they're not making enough money.
Well, yeah, because I mean, you have all these people. I mean, just like what was it? Square Enix recently, and not meeting expectations. We hear it all the time. It's not just Square Enix either.
Yeah.
But we hear it all the time. Like, oh, this game didn't meet expectations, even though it got like widely reviewed.
Yep. Everyone
I know has played it. It's like, and then sometimes it feels like that comes off of like the Xbox Game Pass was doing a similar thing. Like, what was it? Last week we talked about Tango Games and what is the name of that game?
I can't recall. Yep.
We're gonna pull it up. Hi-Fi Rush.
Yeah,
sorry.
Hi-Fi Rush. There you
go. Which sold like really well, but they said it didn't sell well enough. They also released it on Game Pass day one.
Yeah.
Like, it almost seems like the people aren't paying attention to the fact that it's being released. Like, they're paying more attention to sales than they are like player numbers at this point.
Well, and that's the thing, is that yeah, for a game like that, that's what you have to look at, right? You can't just look at how many.
You can't just look at when you have a game
because it's for free on. You have to apply the next Netflix model to it. Like, yeah, people might have not came here specifically for that, but you have to factor in that people spent time playing that game on the service.
Yeah.
And so in that sense, how successful was that?
Yeah. Like, how many people did they play? And a lot of people played. Yeah.
I mean, almost everybody I knew was talking about it. So
a lot of people played Hi-Fi Rush. A lot of people bought it too. So I don't know. Obviously, in the games industry, expectations for this stuff grow and change, but it just seems like more and more egregious that like certain titles that we're even on like the top of Steam sales. Like it was on the list of top sellers on Steam, and somehow it still yet beat or didn't meet expectations.
Well, I mean, again, and I don't know how much of that is just like fudging numbers or whatever, right? Because it's like in Hollywood, no movie makes money, right? Like that's how they justify a lot of bullshit in their marketing and whatnot, and what they do for their next movie. They fuck around with numbers, and I wonder if part of that is what's happening here. They're fudging numbers and whatnot in order to make the excuse and shift up their company and, you know, cut jobs and pull back on funding in some places.
Well, yeah,
so that
I mean, it's all about trying to. The game company or the game industry has kind of built itself on like, ever expanding profits, but that, you know, that's on it, like that's not sustainable.
Yeah,
you can't sustain that, no matter what like business model or company or area of retail you're going for.
Yeah.
To expect to maintain an upward revenue is ridiculous. So it really comes down to like trying to please the shareholders and stuff.
Yeah, well, I mean that's the thing. I do think that the gaming market it isn't capped at this point. I think there is still a lot of areas for growth out there, but I think it's not far off. So it's becoming a lot harder to make.
I heard a lot of recent talk about how like game development needs to stop spending as much money as it does on the making of the games.
Well, yeah, no. Again, that's same problem with movies, you know. They want to throw all the money at it to do whatever, and sometimes, you know, it's that thing where, you know, if you have constraints on you, you have to be creative in order to achieve something. And when you take the constraints away, you take the easy way. And maybe things don't turn out as great as you thought that they would. And I don't think that's a problem with the developers themselves, at least for the most part.
No, I put most of that sort of stuff on higher management and development teams.
Well, and I think
like your game directors and stuff should be paying attention to that stuff.
Well, I think that's a problem from seeing the forest from the trees sort of thing, you know. It's like they think they have all this money and these resources and whatnot, and so they're like, oh yeah, you know, these aspects of the games they're really good, the graphics are really good, you know, we've spent time on you know, having the controls really well, but then they don't all mesh together correctly. And because I feel like the problem with bad games that spend a lot of money is that they miss the mark in really weird ways lately. You know, it's like you had the funding. Like, how did you miss this?
Well, they all just like swim after the same thing, right? Like, look at what is it? The Suicide Squad game, which everyone got kind of excited for when announced. It was like, okay, cool. Rocksteady, who made the Arkham games and stuff, you know, like those were all really fun. We all like those. It'd be cool to play one with the Suicide Squad, and it could have been, but they went and added all these live service features because they're desperate to make that money. They're so desperate to have some sort of live service that they can monetize.
And that's fine. Like, I'm not going to blame a company for wanting to do that. Like, having a sustainability of profits coming in so that you can, A, make more money off of a title, and B, continue to develop and grow a game. I get the appeal of wanting to do that. But you can't drop the ball on it. You know? Like,
it also needs to be focused. I think one of the big things, like, you know, we hear a lot about how gamers and people are tired of the live service model. Like, I don't think the time expected. I hear it a lot in a lot of videos. Like, there's so many games that demand so much of our time.
Yeah, but
that we have to be picky and stuff. So when a game like Suicide Squad that's a mediocre game comes out and demanding all that time and attention.
But yeah, that's the
Of course we're not
problem.
gonna
Is that
get it.
it's because it's a mediocre game. You know, it's like I heard the same argument, but you know, basically, I can't remember what it might have been on the CADcast, but they essentially had concluded that what's it called? Fortnite. Fortnite is a really, really good game. Like, when you get down to it, there are really enjoyable parts of the game. Not all of it is a hit, but there's something there for a lot of different people. And it's because it's a legitimately good game that people are willing to sink their time into it. The problem isn't that it's a lot of time, necessarily. It's the problem of whether it's worth your time. You know?
True. I mean, there is the sense of that too. And when companies like Diablo 4 put out like their DLCs where you have to pay more than the game initially costs,
Yeah.
and you're like, well, fuck.
Yep. Yeah, there's a lot of problems with the gaming industry. and so I wanted to
think
talk
a lot
about
of it
Square Enix too, the way that they so it was Final Fantasy 16, Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth, and Foam Stars fell short of their expectations, even though those games are critically acclaimed.
Foam Stars, not so much. I haven't heard too much about.
Yeah, I should make that
That
clear.
one-
I
that
didn't
one
even
probably
hear
makes
about it
sense.
before. Yeah, but the other two, like, I know people who said that those are really good games that should be checked out.
The Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth one was
Especially
highly
that one.
praised.
Yeah, exactly. So what's cool here though is that they want to take action in by no longer having these PlayStation exclusives. They want to start releasing their games for all consoles. Well, I should say.
Well, I mean, I think that's a growing trend in general. I mean, you see already, you got Sony starting to release their stuff all over PC. I heard rumored the next game released on PC is going to be God of War. Ragnarok,
Yeah, that's cool.
which super excited for.
Yeah, I might actually have to finally play those games.
It's no use.
So yeah,
But yeah,
I mean,
I think
I think having games come out on more, if you can play games more, and on a PC, wherever you want to play them, that's cool with me. Wherever you like to enjoy your games.
I don't think so.
yeah. I mean, more access to your game is more people who will buy it.
Right?
It's just straight up fact. That's why it's like blocking it in these 177 countries. And I think one of the things that makes me mad is that they kind of tricked a whole bunch of Helldivers fans into like doing positive reviews and stuff after they're like, oh yeah, we won't require the PSN. But a lot of people hopped on that whole thing because it wasn't available in those countries. But it's still not available in those countries, and still no word of any bit of that. Like, if it will, if we'll ever.
I don't think they tricked anybody. I think that was an oversight from the
It
developers. who said that.
feels pretty scummy and tricky to me. Like,
I don't know, because
you went ahead and you said you changed your decision on it, which everyone was like, oh, cool. That means, it's back. But it's still not available for those countries.
well, I mean specifically the people saying, oh, go ahead and change your reviews back. Those that came from developers and people in the community. So that's what I mean specifically. That doesn't feel like they tricked anybody.
Why? I still feel like it's a trick. How would it not be?
That the developers who said that you should change your
I don't remember. I know developers who said they should stop or review bad. Actually, that wasn't even a developer. That was just a community manager. Even
yeah. So
it was initially like change it to a negative.
there was one of the developers. I can't remember who it was, or if it could have
It
been
seems pretty scummy on them
then.
then. Like,
Well, that's the thing. I don't think they were trying to be scummy. I think they were like, oh, cool, we affected change, and then they jumped on it and said, hey, let's like give back and show them like, yeah, we approve of what you're doing. You're doing a good thing, not realizing the totality of it. that, you know, it hadn't all been fixed.
It feels like a trick. It feels like a big trick to me.
I don't know. I don't think that's fair. I don't think that's fair.
It feels like Sony was like, oh yeah, we can get our positives.
Yeah, if it came from Sony, then I would agree with you. But the fact that it didn't come from Sony, then
well, it did come from Sony. Sony is solely responsible for this.
no, but Sony isn't the one that told people like, hey, we fixed it, now you should change your review back to a positive one. It was the developer
that was like
that did, or somebody in the community manager, maybe even just somebody on Reddit. But
yeah, it's just kind of frustrating that game's still not available to the.
no, and that
one more so because people bought it. Like those people bought the game,
right?
And you had originally let it be sold in those countries, then you took it away.
Yeah, they either need to issue a refund or just change it back to how it was before. Like
at least the Ghost of Tsushima one, like they're not
they did refund
selling it in those countries. Like the pre-orders were there, but you know they're not. It didn't go out for sale for 2 months.
Yeah, and I mean honestly, like that's the thing. Like yeah, they whether they fix it or they refund people, I think that either one of those would be okay. It would be better if they could play the game. I
want to see the game available everywhere that I can.
I want that too, but I think it'd be okay if they gave them a full refund as well. Like at least they got to experience the game and they get their money back. I think that's not ideal, but it would be okay.
Ghost of Tsushima isn't out, so they don't get to experience the full game.
No. I was talking about.
At least Helldivers, they got to play it for 2 months.
Yeah.
That's actually even more insulting, I think. Because Helldivers is a fun as fuck game. And if you play it for 2 months, you're going to want to play more. And now you can't, because it's just not available in your country. Sure, they're giving their money back, but like, it's not like there's another game that you can buy that is like Helldivers right now.
Yeah.
There's just not. But there's plenty of games like Ghost of Tsushima, that action from software type game, that you can go play.
Yeah.
So for Helldivers 2, I think it's just a little bit more insulting because there's just not quite the equivalent match you can go get.
No, yeah. And again, I don't think it's the ideal thing to do, but if they're gonna be shitty about it, then at least give the people their money back.
Yeah, I mean, Steam was already giving money back when that started.
Yeah, well, here's the thing is that I think that if they don't make a decision on this soon, that there could be lawsuits. And that maybe even Steam might be able to also sue Sony because it makes Steam look bad. And like something needs to happen. They need to start talking. Because it's a really shitty situation for everyone except for Sony.
It comes down to really just being open when you release your game. I mean, yeah, sure. Helldivers did put that it was going to have a PSN requirement, but they canned that, and part of that is on Arrowhead CEO. That like it just wasn't communicated well enough that was a that not having to sign into PSN off the bat was a like reprieve thing because of the server issues. I don't think that was talked about enough for anyone to understand that that's what was going on. Which could have cleared up a lot of things as well, you know. Yeah. Maybe those people wouldn't have bought that game if they realized they had to sign into PSN off the bat, because the people in those countries would have been like, oh well, I can't do that.
Well, I mean, that's the problem, is that maybe the game should have never been sold in those in those countries where PSN isn't available for something that is, you know, only going to be a temporary thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
that's on Sony. That's hugely on Sony.
Yeah. So, because I mean, I don't know how much wherewithal that the developers had to list it in that way. Because I mean, Sony's the publisher, so do you
Sony's
assume
the
that
publisher.
they
They have all the rights.
Yeah, exactly.
They have all the options in Steam.
Yeah.
Which is why, with the whole Adult Swim game, they were asking for that right to be brought back to developers. That
So
the whole thing.
I don't know. Either which way, it's all dumb. It's all dumb.
It's unfortunate.
It is. It's very unfortunate.
On like a personal level, I don't mind. I already have a PlayStation account.
Longer than I must.
It's not that big of a deal for me.
Well, yeah, but it's like you said. It's the problem is that there's the people who enjoy this game and wanna. I bet a good portion of them would like to continue playing the game. You know,
For sure. There's no other game quite like Helldivers.
I mean, you're essentially taking. I mean, it's not a good example. I'm not trying to call people babies, but you're taking candy away from a baby. Like, it's something that they enjoy, and you're just straight up pulling it away from them because you're an asshole.
I think more on the front, like people who are in those states who were like.
Also, was anybody else surprised that Puerto Rico does not have PSN?
I was surprised that
I'm
Puerto
not surprised
Rico
about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a number of countries on there that I was actually kind of surprised that don't
Right.
have access to PSN. Maybe that's something PlayStation should work on.
Right.
I don't know what's holding that up, whether it be like laws
Yeah. I mean,
laws affecting you.
could be. Or servers. Might maybe just not have servers close enough by.
True.
But yeah.
Whatever's going on though, it sucks.
So yeah. We got one more. Your last one here.
Yeah, I think the AI thing, right?
Yeah. That's what I got here. Your AI.
Cool in
thing.
that article. I saw this. Thought it was pretty interesting, and since we've talked about AI before, this won't go into like arguments like last time. But
Says you.
says me.
I'll argue about what I want to when I want to,
Exactly.
You know what? I'm gonna argue with this,
and how I want to.
I'm gonna argue it just because you said that.
I'm gonna argue even harder now.
So the game Stellaris is getting a new DLC about AI that features AI created voices and also some artworks and stuff. Of course, with all the
Cool.
discussions of AI,
Not artworks and stuff, according to them.
I thought I read in this that they were using AI tools.
They are using AI tools to like create concept ideas that then artists would then take and make their own.
Okay. I think that's a fair way to do it. But
I'm skeptical.
over than that is the big one has gotten the AI voice thing because that's been talked about a lot. Which they're trying to reassure people that the AI is ethical. They're trying to get out ahead of the complaints, and honestly, you're not going to be able to please everybody on this front.
Yeah.
You have too many people who are either think AI is the best thing ever or think it's the end of everything. But I think Stellaris here falls in like kind of the middle of right where I was saying is like the sweet spot, where AI is a good tool. You just need to pay people properly. They were explaining their AI voice tools, and that they paid a bunch of voice actors to come in, and those voice actors are to receive royalties for any lines created from their program. And like I stated it before, like as long as you get like the artist's permission and stuff like that, I don't really see a problem with having an AI, chat or voice lines and stuff. because it can help. You know, it helps fill those gaps and stuff. So I think it's cool that we see a company actually trying to like kind of get out ahead of that and pay those people appropriately and stuff.
I accept this message.
I'm sure a lot of people will be mad either way that it even has like AI in it because you have those people. But from the sounds of what they've said, of course, this is off of the words of not the most reliable people ever. But in their words, AI voice generation tools we use on Stellaris ensures that the voice actors that signed up and built the model receive royalties for every line we create. Ethical use of AI technology is very important to us, and we're pretty good at exploring dystopian sci-fis and don't want to end up there ourselves. Which I think is kind of a funny, silly comment on their type of games, but it's nice to see that consideration at all.
Yeah, it's interesting because I'd like to know what their policies are.
Yeah, we don't really get like a whole breakdown of like entirely what they earned or whatever.
Well, that's the thing, is that I feel like, why aren't any of these voice actors saying anything? Do they have to sign an NDA, basically? Which I hate NDAs of any kind, honestly. I think they're bullshit. Because, like, all right, I am skeptical. That word. I think this would be
Testicles, yes.
I think
Very testicles about this.
Spectacles.
damn you guys. I think this would be a great place for any sort of AI use in a gaming company or any company in general. But it seems a little weird that they're using AI to create these ideas that they're then paying artists to just use the ideas. They're not using, like, it doesn't sound like they're using according to them, or what, sorry, what's his name? Murray, right?
Yeah.
It's what it sounds like. What I got from the quotes in the PC Gamer article is that he was saying that nothing that is generated by the AI is directly used, whether that's the art or the dialogue, right? That they're basically taking these ideas and then, you know, an actual writer or artist or whatever, then they make their own thing based on that, which feels like you're adding an extra step in there, because I feel like you feed something to AI to kind of give you the broad sense of something, and then you edit it up from there. Like, that's the way that I think AI is best used.
So it does. They do promise that in the next couple of weeks they should be posting a bit wider of a post on how they're using the AI.
Mm-hmm.
But from what I got from that was that was mostly like for the AI concept art, AI generated pieces on VisDev exploration / mood boards, among other thematic pieces that are being used as reference and not in the final art assets. To me, that's speaking solely on like the art of the game and not necessarily the voice lines. Because the voice lines, you want those people's voices to be there. But I understand like the want to create that, because you're not entirely sure, especially when you want to bring in the artist or, you know, the voice actors and stuff. You're not entirely sure where your story's going to go, and it lends itself better to not having to call these people back, right? Like, oh, we have some more like re-recordings for you to do.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, and that's the other thing too, is that the voice acting has changed since COVID. From what I understand, that most, like, part of being a voice actor now means you have an in-home studio. So there's no like calling you out to places anymore for the most part. Usually,
No, but they're still calling you back for.
yeah,
I'm not saying like come back or anything, but usually there's like, hey, come back to this to re-record some things.
yeah, but it's as
Just
easy
this
as that
project, not
person.
like place.
Yeah, but it's not.
But you're
it's
also
not
talking
difficult
about-
in the same way anymore. You know.
Yeah, but you're also talking about scheduling. Like
Yeah.
maybe it's not feasible to get that artist back because they're already working on yet another project.
That's true. Yeah.
So I think like the use of AI in that is like extremely acceptable and understandable. As long as you, like I said, as long as you pay those artists properly, like I don't think that they would not at all have a problem with it.
Yeah. So yeah, really what this boils down to is that they're not just trying to get ahead of something, that they're doing shitty and, you know, trying to smooth it over and, you know, don't pay attention to the man behind the curtain or whatever. So yeah, it would be interesting to hear some artists and voice actors
Respond
you know,
to this.
Yeah, that worked with Paradox actually talk about it and comment on their experience working with them. And I really hope that they open that up, because if they're being honest about this and that they do have people come out, then I think that would set a really positive standard for going forward. Especially for some companies that need to see how it's done.
I'm sure on that front we won't get anything for a little while of people speaking out. And on this front, I somewhat agree with you on like NDAs. Although I do think that there's plenty of reason to have
Commander, would you be
timed NDAs.
Timed NDAs, I can understand that, but
Because
just,
you don't want that information to leak out.
yeah.
A whole bunch of reasons that you might not, or for at least a limited time that it would come into play.
Yeah, until something's released. Yeah, I can understand that.
So I imagine in that sense, and that's quite common for NDAs, is usually timed NDAs.
I think they're usually not timed. I mean, in the gaming industry,
Well,
they're usually timed, but in a broader sense, most NDAs are perpetual.
Okay. Maybe mine's just coming from the people I've heard in the video game industry.
Yeah,
that
video
it's
game
usually
industry,
not.
I think they're usually timed. There's no reason for them not to be.
Yeah, the information's got to come out at some point.
Well, but that also depends too, because it's like some of those NDAs, they're crafted where you can't say anything about certain aspect. Like sometimes you're not allowed to talk about how much you were paid to anyone. Although I don't know if that's like a thing that's enforceable now with some of the FCC
well, I don't
laws
know.
that came out.
Like, I mean, pay in itself.
Headmistress Guy?
Like some people just don't like to talk about pay, and that's not necessarily like. I'm not interested in exactly how much they made for their role. I'm more interested in like the percentage, especially when they say that they're getting royalties, right? Like,
yeah.
what is that?
Yeah, but sometimes
What do you mean?
Sometimes they can't. They can't say how much they're getting in royalties. They can say that they're getting royalties, and that's about it. But yeah, still, regardless, I think the majority of NDAs in the gaming industry are timed, even when it comes to the specifics of an NDA. So I don't know. We'll see.
I follow a lot of voice actors, so we'll see if any of them come out and say anything.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I don't know who's working on
Neither do I. I don't know if any of the people I follow are on them, but
on Stellaris.
But they said they'll come out with more about their AI stuff, so that should be interesting either way.
Yeah.
Something's different this time.
Yeah, that's pretty much all I got.
Cool.
Some seeds.
Well. Guess we'll end it there. That's some good
I'll end you.
conversations.
Sorry.
Why?
That was
That's rude.
uncalled for.
God damn.
I know,
uncalled
right?
for.
Escalated quickly.
Was, yeah.
I got frustrated. I died to those spider things I was fighting earlier, and
Oh yeah, Sting. Yeah.
yeah.
Sting's frustrating for sure.
Yeah, the famous spider from Lord of the Rings. Sting.
Thing.
Yeah.
I just pissed off every Lord of the Rings, including myself.
Well, yeah. Well, thank you, everyone, for joining. What are you trying to do there? God, just beat the game already. Jeez. What's wrong with you?
Right? You can't
Oh
beat a
my
game.
God. Like, yeah? Come on, try. No, that's not. No. Yeah.
It's not. It's just not
Let's try it
wanting.
again.
You got this?
Come on, fail one more time.
All right, we'll fail level.
You got this?
All right, I'm done.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. You can catch us here every Tuesday. We do the 8-Bit Show on the Twitch and the YouTubes. And you can catch us doing a live stream pretty much every day on the Twitch and the YouTubes as well. So, yeah, join us in the future. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll talk to you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.